So Arty at Aus America thinks he's got my railjet. There's a surprise in store for him, and maybe you. Come back after the titles and find out what. Hey everybody, Anthony Dodge Mile Train Outsider, the American Outsider here with a story of intrigue and sneakery and skulduggery and other terrible things between a certain Australian and Joyce and myself. Now, if you have not seen Arty's video about his railjet that he posted today, you need to go watch that first. So stop watching this and go watch Arty's videos first. Okay? So if you've seen that video or you're now back from watching that video, let's understand. For years, Arty has been claiming I stole his railjet. Now, it's a load of bunk, but he's a crazy Australian and, well, they don't think right anyhow. So he created this elaborate plan where he came to America and came to visit us. We welcomed him in. We set him up in a nice room despite his claims to the contrary. Why, we even forced my son to get married and move out so we could use his bedroom to allow Arty a nice place to stay. We showed him around the city, took him to the finest restaurants in Toledo. And then we waved him goodbye. And we thought that was nice. And then one day I went downstairs and saw this.
Why, that sneaky bastard stole my railjet. We trusted him, let him stay in our house, and he snuck in and stole my railjet. Only one thing to do.
Well, that was it. He stole my railjet. That son of a gun stole my railjet. Well, Joyce and I have to go to Australia and get it back. No expense turned. That's a very important railjet, and there's no way I'm going to let Arty get away with this. So we hopped on a plane and flew over the ocean, only to get diverted to Hawaii. But we eventually made it to Sydney, where Arty picked us up at the airport and then drove us deep into the bush and showed us where he was letting us stay. The amazing hospitality of this. Heck, we couldn't even use the plumbing until we removed this giant clog. And then after Arty left us alone for a little bit to kind of settle in, we noticed when we walked out the next morning that the bridge to our cabin had been somehow destroyed, leaving us trapped in there for a while. Well, we knew there was definitely some nefarious deeds being done. So we forced our way over to Arty's house and said, Arty, we're staying with you. We're not letting you out of our sight. You're up to something. Now, we did notice that Arty's train room that he does live feeds from all the time was suddenly locked. And he was even sleeping in there. Wouldn't let Joyce and me in the room. But we caught Arty with his guard down. We were doing our wacky weekend show, and Arty left the door open while we were live streaming. So I went in quickly, and lo and behold, I quickly spied my railjet there. Well, that's it. Plans within plans. I've got to get my railjet back. We had to distract Arty, lull him to sleep. So we had him take us everywhere, show us everything. Why, we even got to meet Arty's in-laws. His ex-in-laws, mind you. And we saw all these amazing sights. But we knew the only way I could pull this off was if we could distract Arty. And if there's one thing that can distract an Australian, it's sheep. So Joyce and I had him take us to this amazing sheep statue. And while Arty hung out with fellow Australians, Gary and his wife, and they stared and admired this giant ram, I quickly absconded back up to Wollongong and Berkeley and grabbed my railjet. However, if I just grab my railjet, Arty's going to notice it before we leave. So part of our clever plan was Joyce and I packed along a cheap Pico version. And we put that on his layout. So we bid our goodbyes and shed our friendly tears, and Joyce and I quickly hopped on the plane and absconded back to the United States with my railjet in tow, and Arty none the wiser. But Arty, if you watch this video, you may want to flip over your railjet, your locomotive, and see that it says Pico. And you may understand why it's not handling those inclines so well. So, anyhow, that is how Joyce and I got my railjet back after Arty's terrible, terrible theft. And the railjet is back at home and ready to run tonight on my live stream. So join us tonight and see the railjet safe at home once again. So until then, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. And to Arty, happy Pico trains. Take care.